All I ask from you, the viewer, the fan, the listener, the follower on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, X, wherever you follow us, if you're going to call us out for clickbait, you damn sure better be able to come back with it and show us where we're doing it. You better not come out and say, well, this guy who doesn't like you at all because of some crazy shit that he pulled years ago came out here and, well, he says that you're doing clickbait. I don't want to hear that. This business is funny, and I will promise you this is it's funny as Caden Durham today. Stay with me. Caden Durham went on with our good friend Chris Gordy over at Locked On SEC. The more things you know, the more you don't. The things you think you know, the more you don't in this business. I will say this because it came up today in the rivalry of Tennessee and LSU, which we're actually going to discuss because, of course, Chris Phillips goes viral from SEC Unfiltered yet again. But we got to start this very quickly. There's one thing that I will hold dear. It is my job to get views. Sorry. I don't need some little Rudy Poo who thinks that they know about media to tell me what they think that I need to do in the sense of what I did to build a business that goes full time when you're sitting there in the mill with your TRT and your suntan. Or should I say, when you go to the tanning bed? I'm all for good debates. What I'm not good for is being called out and you not having the evidence to back it up. But there was an interesting conversation that came up today from our good friend Chris Phillips over at SEC Unfiltered. And I'm going to ask you, the LSU fan, is LSU baseball and Tennessee baseball a rivalry? Now, last week, you and I discussed this, and I thought that it was interesting. The scenario that I gave last week, which a lot of you will remember, is that I thought that LSU baseball and Tennessee baseball was the football version of what we had with LSU and Alabama so many years with Saban, with Les, with Ed. You know the whole thing. Now, I do think it is massively different, and a lot of you agreed. Les Miles is not, or Jay Johnson is not Les Miles. Jay Johnson is not Ed Orgeron. We all agree with that. But what I meant by that was two perennial programs that are constantly going to battle it out. And here's the truth. You faced Tennessee in an SEC tournament championship game a year ago, and you lost to them by a run. You went to Tennessee a year ago, and they swept you. 2 years ago, I guess is what we could say now, you took 2 of 3 from Tennessee at your place, and then when you went to Omaha, you beat them twice. So if we're going on this scale of what it looks like, there are some even things that are going on here. Now, I look at both of them and say, what does Jay Johnson and Tony Vitello have in common? Both of them recruited at a very high level. Both of them develop at a very high level. Both of them are going to be one of the top 2 teams in the SEC for years to come. So the question becomes, is Tennessee and Tennessee baseball and LSU baseball a rival? Well, considering the fact that they're going to be playing each other, and by the way, the SEC keeps forcing Tennessee and LSU to play each other every year because we didn't play Tennessee baseball this much until Tony V got there. But it is the 2 best teams in the conference that are historically, as of right now and how they're doing things, the teams that constantly are recruiting the best and have the most traction in baseball that will continue to collide. Do I think it's a rivalry in the sense of, hey, that's a true rival, we hate them, we don't like them? No. But things have changed with us. A&M used to not be a massive rival, and look at them now. You call them the Goobs. At least that's what it shows me on Twitter. So if you're asking me my opinion, if it's a rivalry game, you're damn right it's a rivalry. You're damn right it is. Because both of those teams are going to be in the top 5 historically throughout this process. And, well, when you have 2 teams that face off against one another the way that they do, it's going to breed toxicity. By the way, you can look on social media and find out for yourself. You don't have to tell me, I know more about baseball than anybody. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know the players like that either. You don't know the coaches like that either. But that's neither here nor there. I knew that was kind of viral today. But it was what it was. Chan says, did you just do a preemptive rant before saying hello? Yeah, I did because, again, there's one thing that I'm going to ask you. I got called out last week for clickbait. I asked, where's the clickbait? Okay. I got called out by people who think that they know baseball and think that they cover LSU. By the way, can you go to LSU baseball games? That's a question. But my bigger question is we could be so much more clickbaity around here. You know what? Screw it. We're going to be. You want clickbaity, I'll give you clickbaity. You want the volume turned up to 10, I'll give you the volume turned up to 10. Anyway. But I do think it's a rival. And look, at the end of April, you got a massive series in Baton Rouge by two really good football or really good baseball teams. Speaking of baseball, we're going to be breaking down LSU baseball here tonight. We'll preview the Xavier game. What you need to know about going into this game versus Xavier, a team that's faced a lot of really tough opponents. They've played Oregon State. They've played Vandy. They've played Tennessee. They've played Indiana. So we're going to break all that down. Some names that you need to know and that you should be on the watch out for tonight versus Xavier of Ohio. Some people thought we were playing Xavier of New Orleans. No, we're not. We'll get into day 2 of LSU football practice. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 players that stood out today. We'll be out there officially tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. But we will be there. Saints free agency. Justin Reed is back to the state of Louisiana. We'll talk on him. Chase Young gets extended. I don't know how much I like that, so we'll talk on that as well. And as we do every Tuesday and Thursday, hashtag Ask Blake, thoughts, questions, and concerns. A couple of comments in here. LSU Ninja 9 says Texas A&M is more like a man cheerleaders that can't speak proper English. Here's the thing, though, man. Based off of the games, based off of things like the 7 overtime game, based off the dominance that you had over them. By the way, the SEC forced A&M as the rival on you, especially in football. You've dominated A&M for over a decade and a half. I mean, what is LSU, like 13-3, 13-2 in football against Texas A&M, 13-4, whatever it is. Or whatever the record is. I don't know. I don't remember it off the top of my head. You've dominated their ass. But that game being at the end of the year, and for what it's worth, they kind of, you don't like A&M. I don't like A&M as an LSU fan. A&M doesn't like LSU. They're on their media people are over there saying that, Baton Rouge smells like piss. Guys, you've never been relevant. Your program in no sport has ever been relevant. Not really. Just because you have a lot of money does not make you relevant. There's a lot of people that have money that aren't relevant. Because when you kick off the ball, you get on the mound, you take the at-bat, you have the shot, there are some things that you're just not going to be relevant in. The only national title you've won has been in meat judging? You won a meat judging national championship, and you got a ring for it. I mean, I don't like them because it was forced on you, and it turned out to be that way. When you have high levels of competition with two great teams, it's going, regardless of what you think, and social media proves this out, by the way that LSU and Tennessee fans go at one another. When you have that much higher stakes, it's going to turn into a rival when you're in your own conference. 1,000% is going to happen. So anybody who thinks that it's not going to be, already is, or won't turn into more as the decades and years continue to go on, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Greg's in the house. He says, let's go. Where is everybody watching from tonight? Good to have you in here. Adam S. says, good afternoon to all. Good afternoon to you as well. Bama is burning. Says, what's up, Blake? Good to have you in here, good sir. Lance says, what's up, Big Blake? To hell with them Rudy Poos, bro. Yeah. The Rudy Poos, man. No good Rudy Poos. Can't live with them. Try to ignore them, but they piss you off anyway. Mickey is in Shreveport, the 318-31 great. Maverick McBride is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hello. Been to Milwaukee. I actually think that Milwaukee, Wisconsin is one of the most underrated towns in America. Their boardwalk or whatever they call it in downtown Milwaukee is fantastic. It is fantastic. I love Milwaukee. Been there a couple of times. It's a very, very fun town. He says this. Mikey says he's in the 615. Good to have you in here with us. Wendell Norman says good afternoon from Spring Hill, Florida, in the building. Brandon, see, LSU fans already had it. LSU leads the A&M series 32-24 and 3 all time. How about that? I would love. What's the record, Brandon, of when they came in the SEC? What's that record? Clyde is in Petersburg, Virginia, the 804 stand up. Good to have you in here with us. Alan Smith is in the 615, Nashville, Tennessee. Stand up. You know, my wife asked me about us going on a trip to Nashville. I need to look more into that. Chance Babin says the 210. Good to have you, my man, in here with us. And Todd Davis is in New Orleans, the 504 stand up. Good to have you in here with us as well. All right. Let's get moving here. We're going to preview the Xavier game here tonight. I do not believe that we'll be doing a post game. I will keep you up to date, but we are going to preview the Xavier game here today. The reason we just got so much going on, I need to get ready and do some things before we go, because I got to leave here early in the morning before we get to practice tomorrow morning for football. So I don't think that we're going to have a post game, but we will be doing, we do as many of them as anybody. Actually, we do more than anybody, but we will preview that. We'll come back, talk some LSU football and some Saints. But let me do this. Let's talk about our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media. Guys, do you need the right leads with smart systems and real growth for your business? Get a marketing system that works. Service Hawk Digital Media and Service Hawk Digital Marketing is where you need to go. HVAC, electrical pros, generator pros. They literally can do it all. Our guys Justin and Lee over there do an exceptional job. I have been in the digital space for quite some time now. They are the best at what they do. So if you need the right leads with a smart system for real business growth, go over to our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media. That's servicehawk.io. That's servicehawk.io today to be able to start generating those leads. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we got a lot to discuss. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. 7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
We're back.
All right. Guys, Brandon, we need the Brandon, change it. Thank you. All right. We got lots that we need to get to. By the way, we do have the starting lineup for tonight's LSU game versus Xavier. So let's get into that. So LSU takes it on Xavier of Ohio tonight in the midweek. Xavier has had a very tough schedule to start off the season. They are 7-9. They did beat number 25 Indiana in extra innings, but they did lose to Oregon State twice. One of those games they got absolutely clobbered. They lost to Tennessee 13-1. Saturday and Sunday of the weekend series versus Vanderbilt, they gave Vanderbilt everything that they could handle. They were tied with Vanderbilt in the bottom of the eighth, 1-1 on Saturday. That's coming off on Friday when they got run ruled 15-3. They also lost on Sunday 4-0 to Vandy, so they got swept. So they were in Tennessee this past week, getting clobbered by Tennessee, getting clobbered in at least on Friday by Vandy, and then they got swept by Vandy. They'll go to Southeastern Louisiana tomorrow, my alma mater, and then they'll have a weekend series with Tulane. Here's the thing, guys, they are 7-9, but they've, like I've mentioned, they've had a brutal schedule. Some of these games they've been close, some of them they've gotten run ruled. In that, they do have two guys that will be on the top of their lineup today, and Jake Lambden, who's hitting .357, and Connor Hendrickson, who's hitting .321, with 3 home runs. This is the thing for tonight that I'm really focused in on for this game. Outside of that, they don't have a lot of guys that have been doing really well. Like, for example, their 6, 7, 8, and 9 hole guys, only one of them are hitting above 280. The problem with that is they have 2 guys in their lineup that aren't hitting above 100 that will start tonight. The thing with Xavier, though, the beginning part of that lineup, they have 2 guys that can really swing it. They have 2 guys in Lambden, and they have another guy in Hendrickson that, look, against Oregon State, Indiana, Tennessee, and against Vanderbilt this weekend, 2 guys that have faced a lot of really good opponents that are hitting above 300 and are hitting the ball really hard and really well. The thing that I would say, though, outside of Carter and outside of Lambden, the rest of the lineup is really interesting. You got to get the first 2 guys out. You got to manage what the guys in Lambden and Hendrickson are going to do. Outside of that tonight, I think that you can be very fine. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what a guy like William Schmidt will do. Now, listen, I talked about those Lambden and Hendrickson. They really swung the bat well against Oregon State and all SEC opponents that they faced. It's going to be interesting to see how William Schmidt fares against those 2. That's going to be a battle inside a battle to see how a guy like William Schmidt will prevail there. We'll see. But there are some other things that I'm really looking forward to tonight. Because, listen, after tonight, I get it's Missouri this weekend. You do start SEC play. There are some things, like people came at me when we talked about this yesterday about, Blake, you're just too positive. So, I'm too negative or too positive. I don't know what else that you can expect from LSU at the current moment based off the teams that they faced. Like, you in the 11-game winning streak that you have, you've scored 117 runs. You've given up some bad situations at the plate. I mean, I guess maybe a little bit more consistency with guys on base, with no outs, you getting a couple base hits to really open some games up. Maybe that's a conversation that we need to have, and potentially when we start SEC play will be the conversation that we need to have. Some pitching woes. I mean, yes, I just need to see a little bit more consistency. Like, you go out there in one of these games, you run rule somebody, but I look at the NDSU mini series that you had last week, a week ago today. You really struggle coming out the gate. You have to come all the way back, and then you run rule a team. You go into extra innings against Kansas State. You start off really slow against Nebraska, and then you explode. I think that has to do with a lot of just inconsistent play that you've had. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not good or that you haven't been good. It's just been a little bit of inconsistency that I do think that you need to clean up. There is something interesting as well that I want to look at here, because tonight's lineup, guys, does not change. You have your lineup right now. It is not changing. The lineup tonight is going to be Derek Curiel starting off as the DH. Let me stop there. Fine enough, good enough to play. Resting him to some extent because of what happened on Sunday. He kind of got a little nicked up. Jared Jones will be at first. Daniel Dickinson, Josh Pearson. Josh will actually be out and left. Stephen Milam at short. Jake Brown and right. Luis Hernandez behind the dish. Tanner Reeves will be at third base, and Chris Stanfield will be in center. Guys, that's the lineup that you've been rolling out. You pretty much have your lineup now. I know that Jay has been tinkering. He doesn't like that word. I know that Jay has been moving guys around in the lineup to see what he's got, and good on him. Guys, you're going into SEC play with what has been your consistent lineup probably over the last 5 games. You got it. I love Luis Hernandez behind the plate. He's going to stay there. He's been really good there. The only thing that I can say is that you just need to be a little bit more consistent. Outside of those 2 guys tonight that you will see in the beginning part of that lineup, I mean, guys, they have Aiden Anderson's hitting .211. Isaac Wasserman is hitting .093. Luke Hammond is hitting .083. I mean, we've seen this team against some really good competition, and outside the 2 top guys, they just have not hit. Now, guys like Luke Hammond, I mean, he's only played in 4 games. That's fair, but it is what it is. I think all in all for me tonight, go pad your stats a little bit. I do think Xavier can present some issues for you if you allow them to, but if you go in there focused and ready to go, that you should be fine and they should not give you any issues. Let's talk about one thing, because I know everybody kind of tiptoes around it, but let's talk on this. I mentioned earlier that I want to see a little bit more consistency with guys and runners on base. Guys, I mean, I want to see that. I know that you do too, right? It's just difficult for me, though, in saying that when you're averaging 10 runs a game against these opponents. And it's not as if Tennessee, Florida, anybody, which Florida's got a massive midweek game either today or tomorrow. I forget. I think it's today. Actually, I could check that. I mean, I don't know what you want more from them. And so, yes, we could point this out and say to ourselves, like, hey, man, they got to be more consistent. You can't get away with that in SEC play. That is fine. You know, Tennessee is up 3-1 against University of Western Georgia. You know, Ole Miss is getting beat right now 6-2 by South Alabama. That is just baseball the way that I see it. And Florida and Florida State just started there in the top of the 2nd inning. So listen, man, we'll see in all of this. Go out there and take care of business. Go sweep this weekend. And then we really start getting into the play that we want, because you'll face Texas in Austin after that. So all in all, I think that look, baseball is baseball. I'm not going to freak out if you lose a midweek game. You want to win every game. They do present some things that can get to you. So all in all, we'll see. All right. Any comments on baseball? Danny Broussard, what's up, buddy? Long-time listener here. Long-time follower. Update on Gavin Guidry. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do, Danny. I'm not trying to cop out on this answer, but I'm staying out of the Gavin Guidry comeback sweepstakes. On Sunday, Jay Johnson in his press conference stated, and I quote, "I haven't talked to Gavin about his injury, but he kind of threw the ball around a little bit, I guess." It's exactly what Jay said. Either he's playing possum. Why would he be playing possum for Missouri, right? I don't think he's playing possum. I'm starting to question if when we're actually going to see him. I really do question that. I think it's more than an injury. I had no sourcing on that, like legitimate sourcing. I think it's more than an injury. Or let me rephrase that. Hold on. Let me rephrase that. I think it's more than just a minor injury. because people will spectate. That's not what I'm trying to say. I think it's more than just a minor injury. And I have no clue. Jay said it would be this weekend. I need to see it, to be honest with you. He was supposed to start in the midweek to start the season. Then when that game when Nichols got canceled, he was supposed to start he missed the entire weekend, was supposed to start the following weekend. Oh, he just magically got hurt. So look, my radar is going off, right? Like my ding, 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 ding. I don't know. But I've said this multiple times. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's happening. Well, I do want to know what's happening with Gavin Guidry, but I don't. I think it's more than just a minor back injury. I think that the Kendall Rogers, boy, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but it's true. And I'm just going to tell you the truth, whether it gets me in trouble or not. I think the Kendall Rogers thing on Twitter, him saying he should be back for the Missouri weekend, that was given to Kendall to put out there to calm people down on asking the question. I need to see it. Listen, want to make this very well known. If he's back for the Missouri weekend, if he's there tonight, it would not shock me. I don't know. I legitimately don't know. I just think that there might be a little bit more going on than maybe that we know. Why? I guess you can throw him against Missouri to let him eat up some innings, but how bad is this back injury? How bad is this lower back injury? Guys, we're going on, let's see. We're going on a month. You know what I mean? A month. I guess. I guess. I had a pinched nerve in my neck last week. Serious pain. This week, I'm much better. Went to the gym today, worked out, lifted. I don't know how much worse that it can be here. So, Danny, I'm not trying to cop out on your question. I'm sorry. I call a little bit of bullshit. Personally. I think something else is up, and I hope and pray that I am wrong. But I just don't. I think something else is more there than an injury. And listen, let me say this too before I get canceled. I don't mind Jay Johnson doing what he's doing. Meaning, if my theory is right, which I don't know if it is or not, and I could easily be wrong. Even if my theory is wrong, I don't mind Jay Johnson playing the game the way that he's playing it. He doesn't have to give us any reason. He can do what he wants. I need to ask around about this. I'm interested to find this out. I wonder if the SEC for baseball, I don't know if did they do this for basketball? I'm not sure. Because in football, they had to give out the injury report. Do they have to do that in baseball at all? I don't know if I don't think that they do. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Let's move over to some football really quickly. So day 2 for LSU football was among us today. We will be out there tomorrow. So if you're listening or need to tell a buddy, tell that buddy to be in here tomorrow as we talk about the practice that was for tomorrow. But made some phone calls, talked to some people that were at practice today. There are about 8-9 guys who, from what I understand, really stood out today. This is in no specific order. This is what was given to me. We'll go offense and defense. Let me start off with this, though, before we get to that. Here is your offensive line as of today. Now, we talked to you, and we talked about this on Saturday. We talked about it yesterday. We'll talk about it again today. This offensive line is going to see many different matchups during the spring, during the fall to get to your starting right 5. Today, it was Adams and Mabinga who started. Braylon Moore at center, DJ Chester at right guard, and Weston Davis at right tackle. There was an instance today, from what I understand, when Weston Davis went out, DJ Chester went to right tackle, and Cohen Eccles came in at right guard. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Josh Thompson, and when he does emerge from graduation, If he moves into right guard instantly or if he moves into right tackle, we'll see. Do you move DJ Chester to the right guard, or right tackle, depending on how either one of those goes? They're going to run in and out a lot of people in that position group. They're going to run a lot of people in and out to see what works. But Braylon Moore was your starting center today. Only took a day before he got there, and you moved DJ Chester, in which DJ Chester was a guard. Defensive line was a constant rotation of human beings. The way that I understand it, most common was Pyburn and Patrick Payton at edge, along with Jamari Butler, and you would rotate different guys based off of what you were doing in the interior. Jamari Butler did move into the interior, and Patrick Pyburn would come in at edge. I heard that I did hear, and we'll talk about defense in a moment. I did hear that Jack Pyburn had a absolutely massive day, especially in the run game. So we'll hit on that in just a moment. But a lot of different rotation. I do think Don McKinley is going to be your number one DT at the current moment, along with Ahmad Bro. I do think that they'll mix some things up based off of formations and based off of things that they see, and Jamari Butler will move in there. They've also done a very interesting thing at the current moment with C.J. Ross. We talked about this on Saturday. We talked about this today. Let me specify, and we did talk about this, and people were arguing with me about this, and we were basically saying the same thing. I'm telling you what I know to be fact. There are instances where C.J. Ross, the linebacker, moved out to star. With Carter last night, we had touched on and talked about that Perk better watch out. This kid's got elite speed. Guys, the only person that beat C.J. Ross, the linebacker, in track was Jelani Watkins, who won the state title in track in Texas. And look what he's doing in track and field for LSU now. That is ridiculous. He's been out there at that position. However, when they go to a smaller nickel package, he does move into the interior. Weeks will come out. Donovan Keys will stay in. They have been utilizing him in a lot of different ways. I do think it's interesting that that Blake Baker is utilizing a guy that he recruited in a lot of different ways. Guys, speed is what we've seen from C.J. Ross. So some personnel things that we've seen here so far. I am very intrigued to see what happens tomorrow. We get to see it with our own eyes. Why are they doing it? How are they doing it? Versus being told and finding out some sourcing on how they're doing it. All right. Some players that stood out today from some things that we heard. Now, I will tell you, all of this can change. Tomorrow, your boy gets his eyes on it, and we'll have that discussion. But there's a young man that we got to discuss about. Well, two guys, and we'll probably have a segment here about the both of them. This is the second time in 2 days of practice that I've heard a lot of things about Barian Brown. Chris Hilton and Barian Brown both created, and I know that LSU posted a video of the throw from Garrett and the touchdown with Chris Hilton. Barian Brown has been somebody that I don't feel, and we've had a lot of discussions on Barian Brown for what it's worth, especially when he recruited and got here. You and I had tons of discussions about Barian Brown because I put out a couple feelers today. The first person that I asked, or the first thing that when I asked, hey, who stood out to you today? All three of the people that I talked to today, all of them had at number one Barian Brown. Every one of them. That tells me one thing. He's doing something that is lighting people on fire. That means, from what I understand, he's catching the ball at a high rate. He's separating from DBs a lot. I think what is happening right now, too, especially from LSU defensively, is that there's just so much speed at the receiver position. Guys, I'm starting to get I'm getting chill bumps at the current moment. I know that you can't see this. I'm getting chill bumps at the current moment. I'm starting to get like a vibe that this receiver room could be really good. But not only this receiving core, but the weapons that you have overall start to really excite me from a passing game standpoint, because the second person that had a big day today was Bauer Sharp, along with Chris Hilton. I wonder if it's because of just how much speed with Aaron Anderson, who was a part of this list. So I'll just read the list off for offense for you. This is the list that I got from everybody. Berrien Brown, Bauer Sharp, Aaron Anderson, Michael Van Buren, Garrett Nussmeier, Caden Durham, DJ Chester. That was the offensive list. Berrien Brown, Bauer Sharp, Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson. My question to everybody was, well, why did they stand out? Well, because they went off. The speed is undeniable. What's interesting about this team, and that I'm so intrigued about in spring to find out, it forces a defense to play you so much different than what they normally would do to other teams. Guys, I'm telling you right now, and again, chill bumps. If you elect, God please Jesus, let Chris Hilton stay healthy. If you elect to not play off of LSU, they're going to burn your ass. It's going to happen. Berrien Brown has got stupid speed, and the things that he presents and that he can do for you completely changes a game for you. You know what's interesting here is that last year you had two big-bodied wide receivers at the X and the Z, right? The X receiver and the Z receiver, and Kyron Lacey and CJ Daniels. And I don't think it played to your strengths. This year it's going to be the complete opposite as of right now. You got speed on top of speed. And then when you play off, and what you're going to have to play off coverage, you're going to have to play off of them. It presents, and what happened today with Bauer Sharp having a massive day, with Aaron Anderson having a massive day, when you're going into quarters coverage and you're playing off and you're trying to go, man, this team can obliterate you now. Now, this is day 2 of spring camp. So let's see what happens in a game-like situation. And this is why I think spring is such a big deal. What happens in a game-like situation if you can't run the football? How do teams react? That's a whole different topic for another day. What I would say is it feels like when I get Berrien Brown, Bauer Sharp, Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton, and Garrett Nussmeier. Let's start there. Along with Caden Durham, who had a big screen pass catch today for a touchdown. The thing that I look at this and say is, listen, if you can translate this at all, man, you got weapons, man. I'm so fired up to see this wide receiver core tomorrow. I am really excited. Bauer Sharp. I'm interested. I'm very interested because the way that the things that you want to do offensively, okay, what's interesting to me here is simple. What's interesting to me here is that he's got speed to separate from the yards from the line of scrimmage to 10 yards. He's got enough speed at tight end depending on who you line up against him. Today it was a safety. It didn't work. It just did not work. They tried to go man and put a safety on him. Didn't work. Kid obliterated everybody. They had to readjust. We'll see, man. We'll see. Offensively, from the receiving core, from Garrett, from everybody. What I'm really excited about was day 1, defense came out, had 3 picks. I love that today it feels as if that they massively responded and it massively worked in their favor. So, offensively, let me just read this out again. Berrien Brown, Bauer Sharp, Aaron Anderson, Michael Van Buren, Garrett Nussmeier, Caden Durham, and DJ Chester. Let me get to DJ Chester for just a moment. I was wrong on something. I thought that LSU would move DJ Chester to left guard. They didn't. They moved him to right guard. I think you give a guy like DJ Chester time. I'm not giving up on DJ Chester. I know a lot of people last year wanted to give up on him. I'm not giving up on him. I'm not even remotely close to giving up on him. I do think he's a better guard than center. And I do think he can work. He's got to get stronger in his lower half, and we'll see. What happened today with DJ Chester is interesting. He got moved to right guard, and then in some situations got moved to right tackle. And a guy that has played center. That's something else too. What I would say about DJ Chester is because of his size and build and athleticism, the athleticism that he does have, he could be a flex guy for you if you need him to be. If ultimately he ever got beat out, he could be a flex guy for you. But man, I think the kid's just going to be so much better off at playing guard or tackle. Center's a tough position to play, man. It's tough. It's tough to be that big and play center. Braylon Moore did come in today. I do think that he's going to have, even with this defensive line, a welcome to the SEC moment. It will be interesting to see how Braylon Moore, being undersized, 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", 285 pounds, it will be interesting to see how he transforms into the SEC. They're going to give Braylon Moore every chance here. Every single chance. But I think the versatility stood out today. By the way, I didn't even bring up Harlan Berry, who had a big catch and run that I was told about. So, weapons. Offensive line does worry me. I'll be real with you. It worries me. You know, how do you maneuver this? What I do like about this situation is when you're having so much struggles, you know, Brian Kelly and everybody putting their focus on it tends to usually get better. I do think that something does tell me that I do think that you're going to be able to run the ball better this year than you did a year ago, but I have no logic behind that at all. All right, let's move to defense. Defensively. Well, actually, let me go here. Last week I was called a negative human being. I guess everybody forgot about the conversation that we had about the defensive end or the edge presence. That we talked about. During the offseason, you and I had a conversation about LSU and the edge presence, whether that be Starr, whether it Perkins or now C.J. Ross, or whether it be Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn, Jamari Butler, Gabe Rutherford. Guys, today the three players that stood out to the people that I talked to, Jack Pyburn, Gabe Rutherford, Patrick Payton, C.J. Ross. Those were the 3/4. C.J. Ross was somebody I think that everybody's just getting enamored with him being a freshman and having that much speed at that position. Patrick Payton and Gabe Rutherford have been a little inseparable. And they work out together. They've been around each other a lot. That edge presence, that edge position, Kevin Peoples has got a slew of dudes, man. He's got a slew of dudes. From what I understand today, in some team drills, the edge absolutely ate people's lunch. It happened on Saturday too. I'm very intrigued to see them tomorrow. Speed, man. You cannot cover athleticism and you can't cover speed. What was interesting today, LSU could not run the ball, from what I understand. Now, they're not in pads, so it doesn't matter. Couldn't really run the ball that effectively. Outside of a long Harlan Berry juke and jive and spin move, I heard that there was nothing going on. Jack Pyburn is a menace. He's going to be a menace. You go into a day tomorrow, okay, where and you go into a couple more days here. I don't know if they'll be in pads tomorrow or not. I would expect that they probably won't be, but even if they are, even if they're not, even if they are, guys, I think that there are two positions that you could be pretty elite in, and I don't say this often. You all call me too negative. I think the receiving core as a whole, and I'm throwing in guys like Bauer Sharp, Tradez Green, Harlan Berry, along with Berrien Brown, Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson. This edge presence really gives me the chills too. I think they could be special at both of those positions. Can everything come together to highlight and spotlight those two positions are going to be very interesting to me. You need help from everybody to spotlight positions and things that you have. We talked about with Carter. PFF put this out. Nobody had more pressures in the last 2 years in college football more than Patrick Payton. Nobody. Bringing in those edge presence has risen the play of Gabe Rutherford. Gabe is an interesting case where you can put him at the 5 technique. You can put him at the 7. It's a lot of different things that you can do with him there. I think the D-line is interesting in and of itself. Guys, you couldn't run the ball today, from what I understand. And again, you don't have pads on, so it's a little to be expected. But the edge presence has been really noticeable. Michael Van Buren, from what I understand, did have a decent run, but Jack Pyburn, Jack Pyburn just gives effort, man. The way that I was told about Jack Pyburn is I think that there was a conversation that kind of like, hey, man, we don't have pads on in spring football. I'd rather turn a kid's volume down than having to constantly tell him to turn it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. He's full go 24/7. So day 2, those are the things that we heard here. It will be very, very interesting to see. Very, very interesting to see. I'm excited, man. Listen, I know a lot of people don't really give a shit about spring football. I know a lot of people say that it doesn't really matter. I know that you've heard from a lot of coaches, and you even have Steve Sarkisian out there today doubling down about spring football and spring football games, and him saying, well, teams are always going to tamper with their roster. No shit, they're going to tamper with your roster. Guys, for a team like LSU, for a team like Texas, for teams around the country, I don't give a shit about the NFL and what they do. Development in college football is bigger than anywhere else. Maybe high school being the only other place, clearly. Guys, you need development. You have so many new faces on this team if you're LSU. You need as many opportunities to see this team, to see what you have more than anything. Guys, I will continue to say this. It is the biggest spring. I've been covering this team religiously since 2020. Even though we started in 2017 and took a break and came back. No, there has not been a spring, not one, even more than 2022, not one that I am more intrigued by than this one. Not close. Guys, you have a brand new team. Even though Gabe Rutherford was here a year ago, guys, he's getting reps with the ones. Charles Ross. Does anybody know anything about Charles Ross other than he's got serious speed? Anybody? Anybody? You're putting a linebacker who will play inside linebacker in instances. You're putting him at star. I'm count me intrigued, man. Count me very, very intrigued. All right, let's do this. I'll come back and take thoughts, questions, and concerns. We'll talk a little bit about the Saints, #AskBlake, so I need to get to a break. But I'll get to your comments next. So let's do that. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
We're back. Ammo Cat 1 says, how are Perkins and Weeks doing coming off of injury? All I've heard is that it's been good. If this is what I was told, if you 1,000% needed with Weeks to go, I think he could go. Maybe would be questionable, but if this were season, they would kind of push him to see how it would go. They're going to keep him out, and Perkins is not ready. And he shouldn't be ready. He's coming off of the ACL injury. Corey Rogers says, how did Cooley look? I do not know. I have not heard about him. No one has told me. This is what I would say is that I heard the safety room has kind of gotten cooked. I need to see that for myself. If I'm going to talk negative about a position group, I need to see it first. How about that? I will have my questions, but I do not know. I do not know. Chad says that Ross might be a star because he's a Perkins-type athlete. Yeah, I mean, very, very much well so could be. And again, I mean, speed is the name of the game, man, with him. And if you're going to send a lot of pressures from that position, hell, send his ass. Right? Send his ass. You know what? I don't mind that with him. I don't mind it with him. A lot of different things you can do. If he's that fast, 10, 4, 500 meter, whatever it was, do it. Absolutely do it. All right. Before we get out of here, the Saints did re-sign Chase Young. I know y'all don't care. It's a lot of money for a guy that had 5.5 sacks and hasn't done as good as he's done since his rookie year. I mean, it is what it is. You did restructure Carr and Matthew. I don't, number one, nor do I believe. I don't trust Kellen Moore when he says that he thinks Derek Carr is going to be his quarterback of the future. I call bullshit on that. Justin Reed, the former Dutchtown High School Griffin, and former Chief, along with Texan, signed with the Saints today. He had 95 tackles in 23 with 3 sacks and an interception. This year, he had 87 tackles and 2 interceptions, no sacks, but led all safeties and pressures this past season. He signs with the Saints. He comes home. Look, man, you restructured Tyron. I mean, you needed safety help. Justin Reed is a tackling machine, and he will provide that for you. All right. Todd says he cares. Horrible to sign Young, stupid Loomis. I mean, here's the thing with the Saints, the way that I see it. If you want my opinion, I know you don't necessarily always come here for Saints stuff. Here's my opinion on it. It's a lot of money for a guy who's been underproductive. A lot of money. Can you get the best out of him? He's a super freak athlete. Can you get the best out of him? Will be the question there. You know it and I know it. That will be the question. I don't know if you can. I really don't know if you can. I don't know if I mind the Derek Carr move in the sense of that it gives you cap space, but paying him $40 million this year is stupid. You need to move on from him. Take the cap hit. Move on. He's not a good quarterback, man. Why they're trying to fit this square peg in a round hole is beyond me. He's just not a good quarterback. I love the Justin Reed move. I don't think, though, for what it's worth, I do not believe that Ashton Jeanty. I think that they're going to take Ashton Jeanty in the draft. That's my opinion. Not just based off of the way that I feel. So we'll see. All right. We're going to get out of here. We will see y'all tomorrow. Big show tomorrow because we'll actually be out there at practice, and I'll tell you my humble opinion. So that's always good. Let's go watch this game, man. Y'all have a good night. Peace.